Welcome back, everybody. This is Hilltop Hooligans. This is the Word Traction Network podcast. Hope you all are doing well today. This podcast comes to you sponsored by people that are mindlessly supporting Bibi Netanyahu and making apologies for him, even as he prolongs his eventual prosecution in order to avoid responsibility for corruption. There are so many parallels between Benjamin Netanyahu and your dear president, Donald J. Trump. But this is also revisiting two truly reprehensible human beings, Ben-Gvir and Smotrich, who are part of Netanyahu's coalition, the Likud party, which is Netanyahu, has a coalition to lead the government, and Ben-Gvir and the cop and Smotrich, the finance guy, are two truly miserable human beings who are closely associated with the Hilltop youth. These are, if you don't follow Israeli media, you probably get a little bit less, but these are Jewish settlers that they're explained away or they're excused much in the way that J.D. Vance did when that group of MAGA supporters said some truly vile, reprehensible, Islamophobic, anti-Semitic things. And J.D. Vance stood up and said, "Oh, they're just kids. You know, you remember when you were a kid, you said some things you would be embarrassed about." But and then they turned out to be in their executives in their mid-30s. These are youth. Some of them are young and some are closer to middle age. They are perhaps disaffected. They are perhaps troubled. They have some, otherwise have some parallels to the mega cult in some ways too. The one redeeming quality about the Hilltop youth is that they serve in the military to a higher degree than the religious right does in general, because you'll recall that the ultra orthodox, the chosen people, say that they're kind of like conscientious objectors. The Hilltop youth do not conscientiously object to violence in any way, shape, or form. They are the ones in the West Bank that are repeatedly attacking Palestinian homeowners, planters, farmers, and others. It is their goal to rid the entire West Bank of Palestinians entirely, so it can be an extension, a homogeneous extension of the Jewish state. And these two gentlemen, Ben-Gvir and Smotrich, have represented them in court, have been affiliated with them, and in fact, Smotrich was himself a Hilltop youth. So these are, and it's an unholy and sometimes uneasy alliance. If Donald Trump wasn't the president, then there was actual leadership in the United States, an American president would say, "Bibi, you got to chill those motherfuckers out right now, or we're cutting you off," because the acts of violence, I mean, they're killing people or constantly beating the shit out of during religious ceremonies. Just last week, there are videos of Hilltop youth in large numbers walking by sacred sites, Muslim sites, sites of religious significance, and spitting on them. Right? These are the same sort of folks like the IDF soldier that decapitated the statue of Jesus. I joke that killing Jesus for a second time makes you unpopular, but that's kind of how they roll. Now, Bibi Netanyahu, they are in his coalition because it's that narrow, and he needs the votes. And the two of them together, and numbers may fluctuate and opinions may vary, but the two of them together have the strength of 9 seats, plus or minus, somewhere around. So it's a major part of the coalition. And in Israeli politics, you have to be in coalition to get things done, much as the opposition party will hope to form a coalition with the Arab parties and representative, the Arab seats, which accounts for about a couple seats more, I think about 11 seats, in order to make a coalition to assuming that they can beat Netanyahu and lead the government. It's going to be a narrow fight. There's going to be a lot of shady shit, big surprise, just like here at home, between now and when the election happens in a few months. But if you want to be repulsed, or in an absurd manner, if you think that the MAGA cult movement is the most disgusting thing that you've seen in a long time, then get a load of the Hilltop Youth, and it'll make you want to hug your MAGA brothers and sisters and keep them close, because these younger folks are absolutely out of their freaking gourds, and they're killers. The problem is that the IDF won't, and the police themselves are run by Ben-Gvir. He's in charge of the police and the border police. Smotrich, as I mentioned, is on the finance side. So when these youth murder or batter nearly to death, a Palestinian citizen, then the prosecution is sort of like, yeah, well, do better next time, and then get out the door. There's very little evidence that any of these terrible crimes are being prosecuted at all. Which again, there are a lot of parallels between the behavior of these folks, MAGA and Trump on top. What's the difference between Donald Trump with a majority in the House and Senate and what we're hoping may happen in the November elections? If there are more hearings, the only reason that there is, as we all know, whether you're on the right or the left, there is some uneasiness with the amount of funding that's going to Israel. On the right, if you want to know what time it is, just listen to Tucker Carlson, J.D. Vance, and others, and that's Megyn Kelly. It is don't listen to Candace. I mean, Candace is popular. Candace is entertaining, but kind of like going to the zoo. On the left, no big surprise, it is the treatment of the residents of Gaza, and they can the religious right and Netanyahu and Likud more generally can talk down oh, well, American media is controlled by the libs, and therefore they use words like genocide to inflame tensions. Right? APAC, who is the leading Jewish fundraising organization operating in the United States, is, they're very involved. This very day, we're going to learn a little something about APAC's influence, one way or the other. They threw so much money against Thomas Massey in his midterm election, which is going on right this moment. He was doing, coming into this week, he was thought to be doing pretty well. He's a libertarian candidate. He's a flawed man like all of us are, but he pissed off DJT. So DJT primaried him with a candidate who I don't know him personally. He's a Navy SEAL, so he's a verifiable tough guy. What he can do in government, don't know, don't care. But I just want to see Miriam Adelson, the widow of Sheldon Adelson, who is a casino magnate. He is no longer. His wife is from Las Vegas and beyond, who is a billionaire and a staunch Trump supporter. I'm sad to say, as her husband was before her, through hundreds of thousands of dollars. This is the most expensive midterm election race in U.S. House of Representatives history. And that's because of APEC with Miriam Adelson riding shotgun, throwing tens of millions of dollars in order just to meet the commands of Donald Trump that Thomas Massey be defeated. Now, I'm not a Thomas Massey fan. I'm not going to campaign for him, but I'm rooting for the man that chooses to punch figuratively speaking, punch Donald Trump in the face. So that's I am hoping a late surge, some other voters that are dissatisfied with being told what to do. Massey has perhaps even overplayed the connection to the Israel lobby and AIPAC and Ms. Adelson. I mean, he repeats it every day. I know he should, because it's the one weapon that he has. But it's almost to the point of being distasteful, as if American Jews don't have the right to spend their money in elections after Citizens United. Everybody can do it. Putin's spending money in American. I wouldn't be surprised to see Xi Jinping visiting in November, because the Supreme Court broke that. And that's something that'll need to be fixed, or amended or fixed sometime if we ever want to get back to an actual democracy. But yeah, so we're going to watch that. Just one more the fun fact about our Wonder Twins, Smotrich and Ben-Gvir, is that my favorite organization in the world, perhaps other than the UN, is the ICC, of course, as I've covered in a number of podcasts before. That is the International Criminal Court. And that is the last bulwark, if you will, against full-on authoritarianism. It is the last measure of strength to combat impunity. They have, amongst other people, they have indicted Vladimir Putin and Bibi Netanyahu. And now they have had them in the bullpen, but they are about to announce formally the indictments of Ben-Gvir and Smotrich. In fact, one of the two of them, I think it was Smotrich, mentioned in Israeli media yesterday or today, that he was contacted. Now, whether this is he's playing the media, he's trying to increase the outrage for those that oppose the ICC, like Trump, Netanyahu, and others. Trump has, as we've talked about before on this platform, Trump has spent your taxpayer dollars to kneecap the ICC. He has, damaged the credit ratings of judges. He's canceled the visas of at least one judge, a French gentleman, so he can no longer visit the United States. And he is trying to exert as much pressure as he can. He wants the ICC to go away because it's really the last organization standing that could hold him accountable for, the ICC, as we've talked about before, it's very narrow. The only thing that they prosecute is genocide, war crimes, and a couple other things, right? But that's sort of the short list. If he's being rude, he's being mean to me, I want to sue him for libel. That's not what the ICC does, right? So, but for them to accuse, it would be the first indictment for genocide. Right? So that would be a major step. Not easy to prove, and harder still when you don't have jurisdiction to pluck the targets of your ire and your jurisprudence out of the country of origin, because neither the United States nor Israel are signatories to that accord that governs the ICC. U.S. never did. Israel made a few noises, but never formalized it. So they're not. The beauty of the agreement is that the signatories of the agreement, in many other countries in Europe and Africa, are bound to assist with the apprehension of those that have been indicted. The former Philippine leader Duterte was arrested in Manila and extracted and brought to The Hague, and he's currently being charged. There was a reversal recently for an African gentleman, either Libyan or otherwise. They had to drop the charges because they got banged up on a technicality, and they follow the rules. But of the people that are currently under indictment, a lot of them, you won't be surprised to learn, are in Sudan, and they're in DRC, and in some other African countries. There is criticism of the ICC of focusing too much on Africa and not as much on Europe and other parts of the world, which is a fair criticism. They just, they have to just call balls and strikes the way that they see them, but the numbers don't lie. So of course, you need a North Star, something in challenging times like we're living through now. You need a guiding light. You need something, whatever gets you through the night, as the great song asked. Lennon, right? Yeah, John Lennon. Hard times, sometimes frustrating times, sometimes demoralizing times with all of the corruption and Trump writing himself checks and all of the other silly shit that's going on in Russia and in China and in Iran. But, big points for them continuing to troll your president. That's cool. But as I've shared before, if you'll excuse me, my ICC wet dream, right? To say it like our friend Stewie. What is, I had a quad in mind, like a fourplex condominium that would house in The Hague um, Vladimir Putin, Bibi Netanyahu, Jair Bolsonaro of Brazil, and Donald J. Trump. Then they would have to live together in prison for the rest of their lives, and they would have to take turns cooking and cleaning. That would be fun. Adding Ben Gvir and Smotrich, right? So I hate the word, I guess a 6-unit condominium complex, they call it a sixplex, but that doesn't roll off the tip of your tongue. But I'll learn to live with it if we're able to get them in custody. But they are, I'm hoping to be indicted. They'll be indicted shortly. Donald Trump, until the day that he leaves office, will be doing whatever he can do, along with the help of Bibi and others, to handicap the ICC, to kneecap them. And he will exert pressure on our European allies to help. He will say to, I don't know, France, Germany, UK, and other, well, the $3 billion we were going to give you for this trade deal, etc., we just can't send you the money unless you cut your ties with the ICC. And he's going to do that over and over again. He's already doing it. And I am hopeful, and I'm going to look at this upcoming weekend is a long weekend. So I'm going to dig down a little bit more ICC on ways that we're non-signatories, but we are, fervent supporters of the ICC, the concept of justice, and to bust through this impunity that Trump, with the 3,000, however many trades were in the first quarter of this year, and the hundreds of billions of dollars. He's just saying, fuck you, arrest me, and we can only hope with the ICC or with the state courts in the several states, as they used to say, somebody will get something that will hang on to either Trump and or his children. Trump, in this deal with shepherded through by Todd Blanche, your acting attorney general, he's trying to get language included that says that the Justice Department and the IRS agree to not audit any member of the Trump family for X period of time. Now, is that enforceable after they leave office? I would say no. But again, that's another layer of impunity he's trying to insert into the system. So we're thinking about New York courts, Florida courts, if we had a sympathetic attorney general, which we don't at this time, but and the ICC, just to get something to stick. Now, do I want to cause a then 83-year-old Donald Trump, assuming he's still on the right side of the ground, do I want to cause him so much distress that it harms his fragile health? No, I don't like to go there, because that makes us just as bad as they are, right? That level of indignity just puts us on the level of MAGA, and I don't want to be there. Now, his snotty children, his eldest son, who again I am handicapping in the positive sports betting horsey sense, to be the nominee for president in the next election, because even though he's dangling the shiny things in front of the nose of Marco and J.D. Vance, I'm going to keep arguing that he will choose his own flesh and blood, because that's the only way he can ensure that his legacy will be perpetuated. Right? And Eric ain't that bright, and Barron is rather young. very tall, great day trader, as we've learned, but a little bit too young to be elected president. And the lesser discussed, excuse me, issue of him having a foreign-born biological father. Would that come up with Barron? I'm not really sure. But again, like I keep promising, that's a different episode. Excuse me. I failed to give you my my weather report for the day, as I'm attacked by a large bug. I heard it. I didn't see it. I can't see it. That was loud. Big bug. I'm outside. It's 90 degrees in northern Massachusetts. Now, we don't get a lot of 90-degree days. You've heard about this fake news global warming thing, so we'll have more of them. But it's a legitimate 90. So that's different if you think about going back a number of episodes. A number of months ago, I was outside and it was snowing. So that's the beauty of New England, is that you get, it sounds trite and it is, you like the four seasons, then you get them all. And you get the harshest version of them, because this past winter was absolutely the coldest winter I can remember. I returned to live in Massachusetts, where I was a child as well. I returned here 10 years ago. And this past winter was the coldest I can recall. But as my age advances, what I can recall accurately and what I'm just guessing at are two different things. So our Hilltop, my earlier episode on these same muckety mucks was the Hilltop Stranglers. If you're looking for more, it's in the feed. But this one, these Hilltop Hooligans, we're going to hear more about them, because, again, Netanyahu will need to be in coalition with these despicable human beings, Smotrich and Ben-Gvir. But their connection with the Hilltop youth and the genocide that is underway in the West Bank, trying to rid the region of Muslims so they can have an expanded Jewish state. Now, is there some irony in Israelis and genocide, and, is there some hypocrisy? Perhaps. But we'll leave that for a different podcast, or you can talk amongst yourselves. I've enjoyed being out here. It's really effing hot, as the weathermen never say. So I'm going to go inside like a baby and cool down a little bit and get some more cold water, because, like when I brought water out in the winter and it froze during the podcast, this water is now 80-something degrees, so it's less than refreshing. But I'm grateful for it, as I'm grateful for you fine people. Thank you. We'll, let's see, this week, tomorrow is Wednesday. We may do a delightful and uplifting subject tomorrow. Ebola is a thing, and it's being, it will be mismanaged by the U.S. to the extent that they even make an effort to save the lives of suffering people, because if you've not caught up on your geography, the vast majority of the people that live in the Democratic Republic of Congo and Uganda are black. So therefore, the Trump administration, well, after Louisiana beat Calais, I don't think they're even pretending to care for that, for the lives of black and brown people, because they don't. Trump only needed them, a few of them, in the last election, because his victory was that narrow. He won't need them again because he's not standing himself. And what the Republican Party has done to black and brown people since Trump took over for Trump 2.0 should be, as the the smart kids say, illustrative of their larger purpose, which is racism and cynicism on blast every day, all day. So yeah, so we got a lot of work to do. Grateful once again. Retweet, restack, subscribe, comments, send a note, send DM, whatever gets you through the night again. And I appreciate it, each and every one of you. And we will do again. Oh, the schedule for the week. So tomorrow, Ebola, probably, unless something exciting happens in the overnight hours. Other than horsies in Hong Kong. And Thursday, of course, is Corrupt Connections, the weekly podcast focused on corruption in the Trump administration. But I found some wonderful other players that will make an appearance in this week's podcast, because it's truly an international game. And you'll not be surprised to learn that your friend Voda, Vladimir Putin, is back on the beat, doing more shady shit, because he's hanging with Xi Jinping right now in China, the real G2, the OG2. So that's fun. So there will be that might interrupt, that may bump Ebola tomorrow, because Putin and Xi doing shady shit together with Iran to harm the U.S., knowing that Donald Trump is under the thumb, if that's the only body part, of one Vladimir Putin, and he just returned from China himself. We might be able to have some fun with that we can't leave it alone. Excuse me. And then DEI Fridays. Saturday, I like this Saturday stratagem, which I did for the first time this past week, and I enjoyed that, to put out a premise and kind of work around it with you nice people. And then we'll see how lazy I am on Sunday. It's a long weekend. Will my weekend schedule change? I'm still, obviously I can't shut my mouth, so something's going to happen. And again, grateful for you guys. Thank you. Retweet, reshare, restack, and all that. Thank you, and have a beautiful day. If I'm still live, I'm going to be careful, because I deleted the main body of my podcast yesterday. That's why I was sharing clips. So I'm going to, let's see. I don't want to do that again, because that would make me perhaps hurl this recording device and harm somebody other than myself. So I think I'm going to switch for some stronger blind guy magnifiers and see if I can do something to fix where I am.